we're having the building committee for JFK Middle School Building Committee virtual meeting tonight. Today is Thursday, May 21st, 2020, and it's a little bit after 6, like 6:40. May we have a roll call, please?
Randy Daigle,
Here.
Rose Bouchard,
Here.
Chris Clare, Chris Cycli,
Here.
David Costa,
Here.
Gina Sakala,
Here.
Amy Dennis, Caitlin Dunn,
Here.
Scott Copen,
Here.
Bruce Kellogg,
Here.
Walter Cruzell,
Here.
Kevin Margolfo, Michael Monfort, Joe Muller,
Here.
Jeff Oken,
He's here. He just clicked on.
thank you, Greg Stritch,
Here.
Stacy Thurston,
Here.
Amar Shamas.
Here.
Thank you.
Did everybody get a chance to review the meeting minutes?
I'm here.
April 23rd, 2020. And if so, are there any comments or corrections? Somebody make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of April 23rd, 2020 as issued.
Second.
Have a show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Okay. We're gonna have to go in. Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go into executive session for the purpose of contract negotiations.
Second.
any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? So we are going into executive session. We should be back in about 50 minutes. So,
So we might have to give ETV a minute to catch
Yeah.
up. It still says it's an executive session. I've got it
oh,
going on
good.
the screen
I was
here.
going to actually ask my girlfriend if she said that. Good.
There's a delay, so don't.
Oh yeah, they just said all clear. ETV to everyone, all clear.
There we are. We're on now.
All right. So we are out of executive session. We were going to move on to item number 4 on the agenda, which is community guest.
To catch up, it's
I'm sorry? Oh, I thought somebody was talking. We don't have any guests per se this evening, so we're going to move right on to the architect's report. So,
Okay. The architect's report. Well, as we talked about last time, from a design perspective, even though we are in a construction mode and most of the reporting now is through the Gilbane, the construction entity, from a design perspective, we still have furniture, furnishings and equipment, FF&E, and technology equipment. Those are the last 2 phases of the project. And we are concurrently, both of those, conducting meetings with Andrew and others to finalize those packages. The target right now is for us to complete FF&E for review with the state in July and technology equipment for review with the state in August. They're separate phases, as you know from what we've done previously. When we get the packages together, we have there's a series of requirements, paper trail that we have to fill out. We'll review with the state, and then they will approve the package along with the budget that goes with it for your reimbursement, and to either go out to bid or purchase off the state list. And much of the FF&E and even tech equipment is on an approved state list, so it's considered equivalent to you bidding it, and you can just select the specific items off that list, cut purchase orders, and get the material. One question that has come up several times is with the vendors, do you have to purchase everything at once and then find a place to store it as an owner? The answer is no. It can be set up so that that you only have to take delivery on the components that you need for each of the phases when they open up. So for example, the first classroom wing is targeted to be ready in February of next year. So you would be receiving only the equipment that you needed for that wing to operate that wing with the students. Concurrently with that effort, obviously we're in now a construction phase. We don't disappear during that. We have some responsibilities that we still need to continue to do. One is, you'll hear the term over the next couple of years of shop drawings submittals. Each of the trades has to submit documents supporting the products they're going to that'll be put in the building based on obviously the bid documents that they bid upon for final review and acceptance by both the construction manager and the design team. So that paper trail starts and those get accepted. And then throughout the process, we'll be attending what's called construction administration site visits, which is, sometimes it's referred to as owner, architect, contractor site visit, where the team will get together every other week in the trailer to review construction progress, identify if there's any issues, et cetera, and to walk the building to make sure everything seems to be falling in place appropriately. Obviously, if there's something, and JCJ is committed to this previously, if there's something that comes up that needs addressing quickly to ensure that you stay on schedule, we'll do that, whether that means we have to come up and do a site visit immediately or whatever the case is. So that's from a design standpoint, architect standpoint, that's our effort with our engineering team, moving forward throughout the process until August of 2022, when you guys actually have everybody moved back in and the project's nearing or is complete, substantially complete.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions for Bruce or JCJ Architects? So as he did mention, their team has been working with the principal, Andrew, and the staff. We've had several meetings, some virtual, some on site, for them to physically see and touch the material and the chairs and get a preference of what they feel is going to be there for the longest. One of the things that one thing that we really like to pay attention to is the quality of it, because the stuff has to stay around for a while. So I don't know, Andrew, if you want to jump in anything regarding the FF&Es that we've been doing.
No, it's been absolutely great. JCJ, the team, Emily, they've been, and Nikki is the other design, the interior person. They've been amazing with just providing us samples, getting the samples to the school quickly. Some educators were in the building. We had them vote on their favorite chair so they can get in and see what it feels like. But they've been absolutely phenomenal with just going through it thoroughly with us and pointing out what's worked in other schools where there's been some pitfalls with certain pieces of furniture, and everything's going smoothly as far as that is concerned.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any comments or questions for the architect? All right, then we're going to move on to the CMR report. Amar from Gilbane.
Thank you, Randy. Good evening. So just want to give you a bit of an update regarding the construction manager's report. Since our last meeting, as you recall, we received bids and the bid coverage was great on this project. Some packages received as many as 7, 8 bidders, that is. We had about close to 30 bid packages. I think we went through that, the breakdown of all the different trades to maximize the value of the bids. And there was some significant savings that we were able to achieve. Obviously, the COVID-19 played a significant factor into that one, unfortunately on one end, but fortunate on the other ends. Again, those bids, after we received them, we contacted all the apparent low bidders. We had a series of meetings with them. CSG was involved. The design team was involved as well in those scope reviews. And the purpose of those scope reviews is to validate their bid and make sure that there's a clear understanding in terms of scope alignment with the bidders and knowing what they carried. And there's no surprises. Overall, the low bidders generally held. I think there was only a couple of low bidders that did not hold because of technicalities into their bid, not necessarily that they missed scope. A couple of them had missed a couple of items and they requested a withdrawal, which is expected on a project of this size and bid coverage of that magnitude. You do anticipate that you are going to lose 1 or 2 bidders on some of the packages, but overall, the percentage was very high as far as the low bidders that held. And we were able to validate their scope again through their scope review process, which is about a 2-week process that took us. And we appreciate the design team as well as CSG's involvement and patience. They are fairly lengthy meetings. Each package just takes about a good 2.5 hours of Zoom meetings. And the entire team did a fantastic job, able to accomplish it because we did have a deadline of assembling all those packages into what we call the guaranteed maximum price, which is the GMP, as you may recall. Basically, the GMP booklet itself is about a 100-page document that gathers all of the bids, gathers all the dollars of all the low bidders and the low responsible bidders. There's also all of the bond costs, the insurances, there's the alternates, the actual drawings and the specifications that the GMP is based on. And the GMP document basically is the guaranteed maximum price for the construction portion of the project based on a set of documents that JCJ provided as well as the timeline associated with the project, which, as Bruce alluded to earlier, starting construction basically 6/1 and the completion of August 2022. In addition to that process, which was significant, we also, that GMP itself went through multiple reviews and got submitted to the town for a review and approval. And happy to say that the GMP was approved earlier today, which is a great milestone, and congratulations to all. Starting tomorrow, the entire team will be back at work within the Gilbane office, starting to basically issue contracts to those bidders that were included in the GMP. And we'll be busy doing that probably the next couple of weeks or so. Along with that, we collect all their bond and cost and validate all their, again, their contract, make sure everything gets signed properly. We are going to focus on the priority packages as it relates to site, steel, concrete, and MEP, mechanical, electrical bidder packages or contracts. Those are the high priority for us. In addition to that, our trailers have been mobilized and we are on site. We are going to start, going to see a lot of presence of the Gilbane folks in the next, the upcoming weeks. As Bruce alluded to earlier, there'll be contractor, owner, architect meetings that'll be taking place at the trailers on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. In addition to that, we'll be releasing the subs. We'll be getting into a phase in the next 4 to 6 weeks, which allude the items that Bruce talked about, which is producing all the submittals and the shop drawings in order to secure all the materials. Again, we're going to focus on the high priority steel, concrete, site, mechanical equipment. Our high priority item is the swing space that we are going to be constructing for the temporary classrooms. So those submittals are going to have high focus and making sure those get released as soon as possible so we could have materials and start getting the work underway. Again, so that's kind of the next 4+ weeks that we are going to be focusing on. And as we start rolling, we're going to start issuing monthly reports and give the committee updates as it relates to progress. And we will be sharing, photos as well as our schedule with you folks in order to keep track of the progress as we move forward into the project. So it's an exciting time. Congratulations to all. And we look forward to another successful project with you folks. Unmute, Randy.
There we go. Look at that. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Amar? One of the things that he did talk about, mobilization, there are trailers on the site. There's going to be significant amount more trailers coming in the next few weeks. There's going to be fencing in the area. They're going to be starting some demolition. One of the things that they are aware of is that there's some children that are receiving lunches still from the school. So they have a plan that they've developed where they won't be interfering with that. Traffic won't be interfering. They're going to have to realign some of the driveways. So they come and turn around the same area. There may not be a big loop anymore once they start the abatement and demo work on the backside. They've scheduled a kickoff meeting with the subs. Like he said, one of the important things right now is the swing space. Chris can talk about the moving, but all those areas are wide open now to allow them to start doing some of the swing space, which would be the temporary classroom area for the kids for the next 2 years. Like he mentioned, they're going to be providing us with monthly reports, which is something we're going to not only show everybody, but it's going to be on the website, on the Facebook page and all that, just to keep everybody as transparent as possible as far as we are in procedures and where we are in progress. Chris is also going to talk about the GMP, Guaranteed Maximum Price, which is, I'll let Chris toot that horn there because that's came in very, very favorable for us in the town of Enfield. Amar also mentioned tomorrow they're going to actually start contract negotiation with some of these firms to get them up. So we're looking at hopefully June 1st. Keep our fingers crossed that we will have crews on site and begin. Anybody have any questions now that I brought up a couple of items for CMR? All right, now we're going to move on to Chris from CSG, the owner's rep.
All right, thank you, Randy. Okay, so a few things, as you heard, bids did come in favorable. Gilbane's GMP guaranteed maximum price is approximately $58,400,000. Right now, we're tracking about a $9 million owner contingency.
How much?
About $9 million.
I'm sorry, how much? I want to hear that again.
$9 million. A drastic improvement from the $1.5 million we had before bids came in.
$9 million under budget.
$9 million under budget, right? We do have several allowances that are accounted for within that budget, so that $9 million is a true contingency number. One of the things that I've got to work with Gilbane now, I'm talking to the town finance department earlier today, is going through a cash flow. Needs to know what they need to bond as the $58 million project gets underway here. It'll be several million every month now, as you'll see when Gilbane submits their requisitions. So I'm working with Amar's team to put together that cash flow. A few other things with finance, working through writing some of the purchase orders. So one of the requirements now from the State Office of School Construction Grants is that the demo and hazardous material abatement now has to be done off of the DAS pre-qualified state contract, which essentially means that it's all unit price driven. And those prices have already been negotiated and selected and approved by DAS. So then their work is now tracked on daily time and material tickets. So today I was talking with Director of Finance to issue a $2 million purchase order to the demo and abatement contractor for phase 1 and 2. And then we'll have a $300,000 to $400,000 purchase order for the monitoring. That'll be a separate consultant with TRC. They're on state contract as well. And then there'll be another state contract purchase order as well. IMTL, they do all of the materials testing on special inspections. So those are the three purchase orders that we will execute. So we'll have invoices, as you'll see in the coming months, from those three vendors as well, as the project gets underway as well. Moving, as Randy mentioned earlier, so we're anticipating a June 1 start. That's mobilizing aside from Gilbane's trailer. And speaking with the principal earlier today, it looks like the children, student, staff will be out of the way for the most part by June 1st. If they're not, we'll make special accommodations to have items within the school brought out to the students when construction starts. So that should not be an issue. And staff is going to hopefully come in next week to start packing their boxes, their contents and books and such, so that we can relocate them to the temporary classroom areas and then begin to dispose of the furniture and contents that are not being relocated. So there's going to be a lot that's going to start to happen now in the next handful of weeks.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Chris, owner's rep? So, like he said, we are in a very favorable position right now. Approximately $9 million under budget. It's a hell of a way to start a project, I tell you that. A lot of projects aren't this fortunate. But that doesn't mean we have $9 million to squander. We're going to be using it wisely if there are areas that we feel need to be used. Some areas we didn't really design to the fullest, not knowing where the budget was. Some areas material-wise, we went with the lesser costly material. May not be as durable. So some areas we're going to be doing what are called change orders. But it's going to be covered all under that. We're not going to be spending this foolishly, because one of the saving grace, this surplus of funds is, the town was originally, I think was it 26 million or 21 million, Chris? That was, the town was obligated,
Approximately 25 million
25 million.
was gonna be the town share. The referendum amount was 27 million. We always increase the amount for the town share for any ineligibles, change orders, things like that, that the state deems during their audit, which happens years after this project is completed, are ineligible. Those fall under the town share. So we always increase that from the straight line 29.29% town share. So that's why it was originally 25 million. We increased it to 27.
So what is it approximately now, depending upon how much of the contingency is spent? We could be down as low as 19 to 21.
We're about 21.5 million right now. Straight line 29%.
Perfect. So there's several million of savings that was coming from the town that we were gonna previously have to pay, so.
Correct.
Excellent. Anybody have any other questions or comments for Chris before we move on? All right, we're gonna move on to item number 8, the budget subcommittee. The items that I'll be bringing forth were discussed at a previous budget subcommittee that was held prior of this meeting. Everything was, all the backup was reviewed and acknowledged and accepted. When it gets brought to this level, it's already been approved by the budget subcommittee. We're just looking for approval to actually pay it.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that this committee approve for payment JCJ Architecture invoice number 13 dated 4/30/2020 for the sum of $97,386.83.
I second.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve for payment Gilbane invoice number J08621.7 dated May 21st, 2020 for the sum of $45,750.
Second it.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we add to CSG's scope of work a code review services, which will be executed by Perez Associates.
Second.
Any discussion? So basically what this entails is that the state requires a third-party review to review the drawings from the architect for code compliance and what's called constructability. This has to be an independent firm that is hired by the owner, in this case, the owner's rep. Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve for payment CSG invoice number 5 dated May 19th, 2020 for the sum of $36,535.71. And for the record, that includes the CSG code review work done by Perez Associates for the amount of $16,500.
Second.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? And that is all the invoices for payment for this week. We'll move on to old business. Don't think we have anything to discuss under old. Do we have any new business?
Mr. Chairman, during the original high school project, we passed a motion that authorize the chairman of the building committee to have the power to approve change orders under a expedited mode. These were change orders that would need to be executed immediately and could not be brought forth to the committee in a timely manner because of the meeting schedule. So I would like to make a motion that we authorize the chairman of the building committee to have a power of $50,000 without approval of the committee, and that the change order would be brought forth to the committee for approval as soon as practical.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? So basically, just what to explain that is that during construction, if they come across something like a power line or something unforeseen, and they have to work weekends or they need to get a crew there immediately, I will have the authority to authorize them to proceed with the work. The actual cost of the change order was something I still need to bring to the committee for approval. It's basically, they don't have to wait for us to meet as a joint committee to authorize for the work to continue. So it's just pretty much a precaution to keep the job running smoothly. We don't want what's called a delay. If something were to happen and we couldn't answer the contractor in time, he can go after what's called a delay for any damages that caused. So this is just a safety net. It's standard through construction. I still will have to go through the approval of the building committee for any change orders. This is just, like I said, to allow the contractors to proceed with any unforeseen emergencies. Any other questions? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Anybody else has anything under new business?
Is Mohican Sun still closed right now, currently?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. Just trying to.
You had to do this.
You want to take a little savings on a road trip?
Yeah, here we go. Put it on red. All right. So, communication subcommittee. How are we going with that? I know there's been discussion regarding groundbreaking and notifying the public of events. We'd like to do a presentation at some point, but we have to wait till we can all get together. So, Mike, if you have any comments regarding where we stand with that.
No real updates. We can definitely put the ETV out there on our Facebook channel and bring some updates from tonight's meeting that are some good news. Other than that, we really haven't had much to update.
Anybody have anything under communication, but they want any questions or comments? All right, we'll move on to schedule our next meeting. Right now, I think we're scheduled for the next 2 weeks, in 2 weeks. I think we should probably leave it at this point. There might be some things that the committee may have to vote on to get contracts or the project rolling. If not, then I will send out a notice canceling or postponing the meeting to either the following or to the bi-weekly schedule that we previously have set up.
So just to be clear, our next meeting is going to be on June 4th.
Yes, that is correct. Item number 13, committee comments, liaison comments. Does liaisons have any comments, questions, or concerns?
I don't, thank you.
I just want to say great job on the bids. So we got one part of our under budget. Now we got to work on time. So great job, guys. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Stacy, Gina, anything?
No, Gina had to excuse herself. She had another meeting.
Okay.
But no,
All
I
right.
agree with Walter. You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much. Committee comments? One of the comments I'd like to say is every one of these, and this is more for the public, every one of these committee members has been brought on this committee because they're able to offer and provide some kind of professional services at different parts of this. Some during the construction, some during the estimated, some during the design. But everybody plays an incredible role, and they spend exhaustive amount of time volunteering. This is not a paid position. Everybody on this panel is volunteer. So I just want everybody to know, I appreciate everything you've done. The town has been incredible during this awkward situation. Like Amar said, we've been working on this GMP diligently for 3-4 weeks now. We got it all completed yesterday. We brought it to the town manager. The owner's rep walked him through it, discussed all the issues, if there were any, and he signed off on it. That's unprecedented. I've been doing this most of my life. Been volunteering doing every school in this town in Enfield for 16 years, and it's the first time it didn't take weeks to get this thing approved. I'm very fortunate to have this team around, and thank you all for all your hard work and effort, and the principals, the superintendents, the assistant superintendent. I mean, there's just everybody is going above and beyond to get this project where it is. So I want to personally thank you all. Anybody have any good to the order? Any good news they want to share? Other than the casino's opening up soon.
Scott's birthday, does that count?
That's right. Scott Copeland and Lynn
Hey,
Copeland's
happy
birthday
birthday.
today.
That's
And
dedication for you
And
all.
he's with us. You can't get any better than that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, everybody, for all your time.
Thank you.
God
Thank you.
bless and have a great night. Guys.